Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video, I will be talking about a player that an NFL analyst and former Redskins Super Bowl champion thinks that will have a breakout season and possibly could be a star. If you guys are new, please subscribe, hit that like button, that notification bell as well. It really helps out a ton, and check out BetUS, link in the description. So let's get right into it, and at the end of the video, I will be giving you guys a very positive injury update on wide receiver Terry McLaurin. But let's get into the guy that this NFL analyst thinks could break out this year, and that player is Sadik Charles. So former Washington guard Mark Schlereth, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, who is calling the Commanders opener for Fox, had some seriously high praise for current Washington guard Sadik Charles, and I think he played for the Redskins, played for the Broncos as well, and won some Super Bowls, and was a Pro Bowl player, I believe. So he says, I'll tell you who looks like an absolute beast on tape. And I know everybody's going to talk about Jahan Dotson and how he's going to have a breakout year and could be a Pro Bowl type player, and I don't disagree with that. But Sadik Charles is absolutely freaking killing people on tape. Just killing people. There are dozens of rewindable moments in preseason where I was like, holy yes, this guy's a one-man wrecking crew and like really good technique, great steps, good hands. I was thoroughly impressed with the way he played. That right there is amazing, amazing praise. Very, very high praise. I mean, the things that he's saying, he looks like a beast on tape, rewindable moments that has him saying that, and then talking about his good technique. We knew Sadik had talent. The questions with him were, one, character concerns, which haven't been an issue since he's been in Washington, because when we drafted him, there were some issues. I think Ed Orgeron had to suspend him at one point. There was a little bit of issues there at LSU, and that's why people said he dropped, because he's supposed to be like a second-round pick. Some people even thought first, but most people saw like second or third, and he ended up going, I think we were one of the first picks in the fourth round, where we took Sadik Charles, and people thought he was going to be left tackle. Then they switch him inside, and he has injuries his rookie year, and then just never really got to play. And when he did play, he was okay, maybe a little bit underwhelming, but got hurt. Didn't play enough to really see what he could do. So injuries have been the biggest, hindrance to his career so far. And so far this, camp, he's kind of been healthy. He did have that calf injury for a couple weeks, but should be entering the season, hopefully, fully healthy. I don't know if he's still, dealing with that calf injury a little bit, but I'm happy that he's getting some praise, and he has the talent, man. He does have the talent. This is a huge year for him. I believe this is year 4. So if he can put together a good year for us, it'll be good for us this year, and then we could potentially bring him back. And if not, maybe he'll get a solid contract, and we'll be able to get a 4th, 5th round comp pick for him the next year. And you know what? If that's the case, you basically got what you put into him, plus 4 years of service. So that wouldn't be a bad, trade-off. But hopefully he plays great and gets compensated with it here. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm not expecting it to happen, because again, he's been here for 3 years and it hasn't happened. And he has the talent, but the injuries are an issue. But this right here, a lot of praise. And Jahan Dotson, at this point, I don't think he's a sleeper. Everyone in the world is calling him a sleeper. So if everyone's calling you a sleeper, it means you're not a sleeper anymore. I think he's good. And the casual fans, they don't really know who he is, and he'll hopefully surprise them. But I think amongst the national media, a lot of people actually like Jahan, so I don't think he's that overrated. I think entering the offseason, he was a little bit, but then there were like the Commanders fans who already knew who he was, but after that, like the fantasy analysts and other people started bringing him up, and those few people who did it, shout out to them. But then after that, everyone started catching on. But let's go over some other things that were said about Sadik, and kind of some clips as well. So I'm going to read over the praise and then get into clips. So Burgundy Blog says, I wrote off Sadik Charles because I don't trust his durability, but he has been getting some truly superlative reviews lately. We talked about Mark, and he said on the Craig Hoffman pod, he put on a preseason masterclass in dominating the line of scrimmage, and it is just a preseason, but he did play against, I'm trying to think, the first game against Cleveland, I think the interior defensive line were the starters, and then against the Ravens, they weren't really playing their starters, but it's still, good to see. Yeah, it's good to see him play well for sure. because he's going to be our starting left guard. He is going to be our starting left guard for the 2023 season. So we need him to play as well as he can. If he can play average, that's a step up from what we had last year. And for the price we're paying him, which is probably like a couple mil, that's really good. So let's go ahead and look at this clip right here. So he has Sadik Charles at left guard. I don't think this should be copyrighted because it's all 22, but see Sadik Charles there, and just a good job. We'll go back here. He's on that guy originally, and then he sees that, Nick Gates has him, and he slides over to left and helps out. Is that Cornelius Lucas? I think that was Cornelius Lucas. Yeah, he slides over, helps out Cornelius Lucas. Sorry, let's go back to this clip. And good job there. Brings him down. The guy slips a little bit, and just a great job. And I'm not a film expert, but good double team there, and he goes to the next guy, and solid. And then another good play as well, dominates his guy, and then we're back to the first play. So just a couple clips there. I know some people want to see some clips, so there are some clips on Sadik Charles. And yeah, if Sadik Charles can be good for us, that's huge for the Washington Commanders, because that's like the biggest question mark for me is the left guard spot. Honestly, after this, I'm feeling better about it. Maybe the biggest question mark now might be Andrew Wiley at right tackle, because I feel pretty good about Cosme. The injuries is something you have to think about. I feel solid about Nick Gates. I feel with Leno, at least you're going to get below average play, but you can get average play there. And then Sadik Charles, it's the durability concerns as well, but the biggest question mark might be Andrew Wiley and how he plays for the Commanders. But it would be amazing and a great comeback story if Sadik Charles turns out to be a star, or even not even a star. A star would be crazy, but if he ends up being a average to above average starter in this league, well, we'll either have him back or we'll get a 4th round comp pick from him, signing somewhere else. And that would be a win. We drafted him in the 4th round a few years ago. He's played, 3 years here, and it'll be 4 after this year. So we'll get a lot out of him, plus a 4th round pick, a year later. Not a bad return at all, but hopefully he's here in 2024 as a starting left guard on a solid contract. So yeah, now I'll get you guys the Terry interview, but before that, a huge shout out to BetUS. And shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this video. BetUS is a leading online sports betting company, and the NFL season is starting tonight. Thursday Night Football, you got the Kansas City Chiefs and the Detroit Lions. We are finally here. You can bet on that. You can bet on the upcoming football games with the Cardinals and the Commanders, any of those games. Basketball coming up in a little bit. Baseball's happening. Playoffs are coming soon. You got soccer, hockey, even cricket. Whatever you want, they've got it there. They're reliable. They got great customer service. And if you want to use, you can use my link in the description to get a 125% first-time deposit match. It is a great deal and just gives you some money to play around with. And if you think the Commanders are going to win by 7 or more, which basically every Commanders fan thinks they will do, well, that's the line on BetUS. 7 points the Commanders are favored by. If you want to do that, you can bet on the Commanders to win. And as usual, guys, bet responsibly. Thanks, BetUS. Alrighty, so injury update for the Commanders. Well, it's a good one. Terry McLaurin was limited on Wednesday. The next day after practicing for the first time in a while after injury is huge. And you want to see how they're looking and, how the body's responding. John Keim always talks about that. So to see him practice in full is really good for his status on, game day. I right now fully expect him to play. I would probably give it like an 80% chance, a little over 80% chance he plays. Chase Young, limited again. I don't care. He's going to have to get cleared by the Zoom doctor or whatever, but I won't believe it until, he's on the field, basically. So we'll see what happens there. Dax Milne not practicing, not looking good for his availability on Sunday. And as I talked about when the Commanders signed Crowder, think he'll be activated to the roster, elevated from the practice squad for that game as our returner. That would be so crazy to see him play. And then Benjamin St-Juste is fine. And then Kendall Fuller and Logan Thomas not on the injury report. So those guys are 100%. I mean, maybe they're not 100%, but they're playing. No doubt about it. Same thing with Benjamin St-Juste. Dax Milne not going to play. And then Chase Young, I think he's going to be questionable. And then Terry, he might be questionable, but he's going to play. That's kind of my prediction there. And actually, let's look at the Cardinals. So Kelvin Beachum was limited on Wednesday, and then he didn't practice on Thursday. So that's an offensive lineman there. I believe he's a starter, so that's not good for them. Marquise Brown, limited both days with a hammy, probably will play. And then Zach Ertz, limited both days, could not play. And then Dennis Gardick, linebacker, is going to play, so similar to Benjamin St-Juste. So both teams, at least not dealing with a ton of injuries, but some of the guys that are injured, like F.A. Obata, Fedarian Mathis on IR, and then you got Kyler Murray on IR as well. So, yeah, and the Arizona Cardinals announced they are going to start Joshua Dobbs. So that's it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new. And I did partner with Mojo, which I will make a separate video about in a community post. But if you guys want to go ahead and check them out, use my code Pedro and you get a really good deal for a first time deposit match of up to $100. So I'm going to make a whole separate video about that. We got a giveaway going on with them with some jerseys. So stay tuned for that and check out my Twitter in the community tab for the rest of that. Peace, guys.